Welcome to episode 203 of the Hurricane Mike Show, where today we'll be going over each first round pick and we're going to grade them from A to F, or F to A, depending on who you are. And we'll be going over the Saints draft while comparing the mock draft that we both did a couple weeks ago, whenever I pull it up. But, Dad, there's a certain team that we're not going to talk about today, right? Not even for 1 second. Is why, Dad?
Because I'm looking on here, I don't see a pick for the Atlanta Falcons because they suck.
Right. All right, let me pull up the mock draft. All right. With the first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders selected Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana. How do you feel about it?
Woo, I got this pick right. All right. So, I mean, he was the obvious pick. It's been rumored for, weeks, if not months, that he was going to be the first overall pick. And, I think he's going into a good situation with Oakland, first-time head coach.
Las Vegas.
That's, kind of a quarterback guru type of guy there. So I think he's going into a good situation. Yeah, so you want a grade from A to F? Is that what we're doing here?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I mean, he's not the typical number one quarterback in a draft that we normally would see. He's a step below that, so I'm gonna go give him a B plus.
All right. Whew. I'm giving this an A because of the fact that he was, no doubt about it, not even a question, the best quarterback in this draft class. And the Raiders obviously got him at 1. It's not really a steal because, they were the first team drafting, but it was a pretty good pick, because he's supposed to be their franchise. And what the Raiders have done this past offseason, they've been improving the roster like they have a superstar quarterback. So if Mendoza can just be half good, I think the Raiders could be good. Now, I don't think he's going to start right away because they have Kirk Cousins and stuff, and they signed that big contract. So they're probably going to want Mendoza to be a backup or just to learn from Kirk. But after that, hey, all teams are off. Next up, with the second pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets selected David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech. Now, this was a surprise for both of us as we both had the Jets taking Arvell Reese. So, how do you feel about the David Bailey selection for the Jets, and what do you grade it?
Yeah, I saw a couple mock drafts with people, last couple days before the draft was saying David Bailey was probably going to be the Jets pick. But I stick with Arvell Reese because I thought he was, the second best player in this draft. But so they go with David Bailey. That's fine. But can David Bailey get interceptions? That's all I want to know because the Jets, we know last year, could not get an interception. Me and you had just as many interceptions as the Jets had last year. So,
right.
I mean, maybe they're going for, if we rush the passer fast enough, maybe they'll start throwing interceptions and making, mistakes. So maybe that's what they're going for. But I like David Bailey. He's, an SEC guy, and that's what I watch on. He's Texas Tech.
Texas Tech is not in the SEC.
That's the Big 12. So I was wrong about that. I thought it said Texas A&M. I can't even read my own handwriting. But I'm gonna go ahead and give this one an A minus. If he can get to the quarterback and help those boys get some interceptions in the back end, it'll be good. So I give him an A minus.
All right. David Bailey is an interesting kid. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how I feel about this because the Jets how they are right now is where Arvo or not Arvo, what's his name? David Bailey, I feel is a project, and you took him at number 2 because the thing is, he's a good pass rusher. He just can't stop the run. So you're drafting a guy who is a liability at times with the second overall pick. That's where I'm not a big fan of. But the Jets overall with this pick, I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna give it a C plus. Okay, I'll give it a C plus. Next, the third pick, which really got a lot of people, was the Arizona Cardinals selection of Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame, with the third pick. How do you feel about it, and what's the grade?
I was surprised at this pick. I thought they would go, since David Bailey got off the board, I thought the logical thing was, okay, Arvell Reese, another pass rusher. But, they decided to go offense and pick the running back, which is a good player. He's going to be, a stud in the NFL. So I can't really, complain too much. So I'm going to go ahead and give it an A- as well because they need some offense. They still don't have a quarterback, but you're not going to pick, what's left of the quarterback crop, at number 3 overall. So, and they did get a quarterback later. So I'll go ahead and give this one an A-.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love going to Arizona. A lot of people don't like this. I personally didn't mind it. Like, I know a lot of people say don't take running backs high in the draft. Look, I understand, but at the same time, if he's a great player, you take the player, regardless of positional value. And I think this is where that comes into play. Yeah, the Cardinals do need a lot of things. One of their needs is running backs. Like, yes, they signed Tyler Algier. I get that. Tyler Algier is a pretty good running back. But he's not Jeremiah Love. We're talking about Jeremiah Love. That is he has a chance to be one of the best running backs of all time if he plays like how he did, if he played as like he did in Notre Dame. So, personally for me, and let's see, I had the Cardinals going Ruben Bain. Let's see who you had them going David Bailey. So, we were both wrong there. But to be fair, we were both wrong on a lot of these picks. But yeah, Jeremiah Love to Arizona. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give it an A. Now, with the 4th pick, the Tennessee Titans took Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Dad, what's your feelings and what's the grade?
I love this pick. For the majority of the offseason, I've been hoping that this was going to fall to the Saints, and didn't happen. It got snatched up at number 4, and for Tennessee, they got their franchise quarterback last year. They think, get them some receivers. That's just a natural thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them an A because I like the pick and I like the direction they're going. I mean, they had to make this pick. So I'm gonna go A, not A+, just an A.
All right, let's see. So I had the Titans going David Bailey at 4. You had the Titans going Jeremiah Love at 4. So yeah, here with the 4th pick, Carnell Tate going to the Titans. I think I do like the pick. One thing I will say though, I don't really expect Carnell Tate to be that dominant his rookie year because he doesn't really have the supporting cast to help him. I know a lot of people that I've been saying this is one of the worst picks. I don't really see it like that. I think this could be one of those good picks because you got Cam Ward. You need to get him a weapon because I'm sorry, you're not going to sell somebody with your number 1 receiver being Chimere Dike. Who the heck is that? But it's like he's great at Madden. That I did experience. He is great at Madden. But in real life, who the heck is that? So yeah, I'm going. I'll go B+ with this pick. Now, with the 5th pick, New York Giants select Arvell Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State. Dad, you had the Giants, I had the Giants taking Sonny Styles. You had the Giants at 5, taking Carnell Tate. So, Dad, you are literally always one pick off with half of these people.
Seems like it, yep.
Yeah. It's like they go like one pick before you say that they actually go. That's funny. All right. Now, how do you feel about the Arvell reselection for the Giants, and what's the grade?
I like it for the Giants, and I'm gonna go ahead and give them an A+ because I didn't think Arvell Reese was gonna fall out of the top 3. I had him going 2, so I think this is a very high value pick. I'm A+ for the G-Men.
Yeah. This pick for the Giants, I thought was like, this is just one of those scenarios where it's like, how did you let this man fall? Like, I'm sorry, but Arvell Reese, he's the best pass rusher in this draft. And the Giants got him at 5. Now, Malik Neighbors has been vocal saying he doesn't really like the pick because he doesn't know where he's going to play. I'm going to tell you, he's going to play where Dexter Lawrence used to play. Simple as that. Like, I understand they play 2 different positions, but Dexter Lawrence is a pretty good pass and run defender. Guess what? So is Arvell Reese. Like, you can find a place for Arvell Reese. So, yeah, I'm going A+ as well. I think Arvell Reese was a phenomenal pick, and the Giants just happened to get lucky that he fell into their laps. Next, with the 6th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs traded up with the Cleveland Browns to select Mansour Delane, cornerback out of LSU, and I'm not going to lie, this pick hurt my soul. But anyways, let's see. So you had the Browns originally at 6 taking I had the Browns taking Carnell Tate. You had the Browns taking Francis Mainoa. Hope I said that right. So how do you feel about Mansour Delane going to the Chiefs, and what's the grade?
Yeah, I thought they was going to help out their offense and Patrick Mahomes, give him a tackle, because he's been getting a lot of injuries lately. Shoring up that offensive line might be a priority, but the secondary needs to be a priority too. I mean, they lost a couple pieces out the secondary, so this does make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Chiefs a B-.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. When this first happened, I was like, "Wait, what?" Like when the Chiefs traded up, I was like, "All right, they're probably gonna get like one of like they're probably gonna go get Jordan Tyson or an offensive lineman to help out Patrick Holmes." But when they read Mansour Delane, my heart literally fell to the bottom of my feet because I'm like, "Dude, I don't want to have to root against Mansour Delane," but now I got to. Now he's a part of the Out Boys. But yeah, Mansour Delane as the pick. I love the pick. You got a lot of people saying how, why did you trade up? Because he was gonna be there at 9. No, he was not gonna be. He was not gonna be there at 9. Either Washington was gonna, because Washington don't really have any corners. After cutting Lattimore, they have Trey Amos, but he's not really a dominant number 1. So either Washington was going to get him at 7, and if he fell to number 8, the Saints were going to get him at 8. So they had to trade up. Like that was the exact time to trade up, and I don't know, for the Chiefs, I think this is an A+, because Mansour Delane played in the SEC and allowed 0 touchdowns, 0 in the SEC, best conference with some of the best receivers and best quarterbacks, and he allowed 0 touchdowns. Just think about what he's going to do in that AFC West. So yeah, I think this pick is an absolute A+ for the Chiefs. All right, with the 7th pick, Washington Commanders selected Sonny Styles, linebacker at Ohio State. Dad, you had the Commanders at 7 taken. You had them going Caleb Downs. I had the Lions trading up with the Commanders to select Francis Mainoa, which did not happen. So yeah, how do you feel about the Sonny Styles pick, and what's the grade for it?
I had the right school, but the wrong player. And I had the right side of the ball. I thought the Commanders were going to go defense, help their defense out. And I had them picking the safety out of Ohio State. But they go ahead and grab the linebacker, which I ain't mad at him. I mean, Sonny Styles is one of the best players in this draft. Maybe the best defensive player in this draft. So,
All right.
I think they did their thing. I'm gonna go ahead and give them an A+ for this.
A+, you say? All right, hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. All right, for this pick, I think this is interesting, man, with Sonny Styles. He's definitely the best linebacker, like pure linebacker, because I know Arvell Reese technically is also a linebacker. But Sonny Styles, I think, is the best pure linebacker. Now, Commanders, I think this is I'm gonna give it an A+, man. I mean, this was just a great pick. Sonny Styles is hands down, like, the man reminds me of, like, what was his name? The dude that played for Seattle. I don't know. Bobby Wagner. I don't know why I was forgetting him, but he reminds me of, like, whenever I watch Sonny Styles, I'll be watching Bobby Wagner. Like, I think it's a great pick for Washington, so I'm gonna go A+. Now, with the pick that you and I love, with the 8th pick, the New Orleans Saints select Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Now, Dad, I had the Saints selecting Jordan Tyson, so this is the second pick I got right. And you had the Saints selecting at number 8, Mansour Delane. So, which did not happen. So, how do you feel about the Jordan Tyson pickup for the New Orleans Saints, and what's the grade?
Well, Mansour Delane did not make it down to us, so it would be interesting to see if they would have pulled the trigger on that one, or if they still would have went with the receiver. But I'm happy with this pick. I mean, we do need, a number 2 to go alongside Olave and to keep developing our young quarterback and our young offense. So I do like the pick, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it, surprise, surprise, A+.
All right. I'm gonna give this pick a B+, man. Look, I love the pick, man. The reason I'm not going a full A is because of the injury concerns. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to dismiss it, but we got to also be cautious. This is a B+ with the potential to be an A+, depending on if he stays healthy or not. But if we're talking about the pick itself, I love it, man. Jordan Tyson, he be hopping over folks. Like, he's not just a wide receiver that be running all around the field. No, he be hopping. Like, you remember that Reggie Bush play against the Dolphins when the dude went skydiving into the end zone?
Yes.
Jordan Tyson did the same thing last year.
I saw that play today.
Yeah, like, the man be like, like, that's literally what Jordan Tyson be doing too. So, like, if he can do that in the NFL, ain't no way anybody stopping us from winning this division. Jordan Tyson, and we'll get to the entire Saints draft class at the end of the show if we have time. But Jordan Tyson is a B+. Now, 10th pick that the New York Giants got via the Cincinnati Bengals from the Dexter Lawrence trade. With the 10th pick, the Giants took Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle out of Miami. I had the Giants taking. Wait, hold on. We skipped the whole damn pick. Never mind. Let me back up a little bit. The 9th pick. I don't know why I forgot about that. The 9th pick, the Cleveland Browns had, because they traded down with the Chiefs, giving the Browns the 9th pick. They took Spencer Fano, offensive tackle out of Utah. I had the Chiefs, who originally had the 9th pick, taking Caleb Lamu, offensive tackle from Utah. So I got the same position right and the same school right, just the wrong name. And you had the Chiefs at 9 taking Reuben Bain Jr. So how do you feel about the Spencer Fano pick for the Browns, and what's the grade?
The pick is all right. They do need offensive line help. I just don't like the direction the Browns are going, throughout the whole draft. It just makes me shake my head. But I'm gonna just grade this pick. Spencer Fano, he's a good athlete. I mean, he does play at Utah, so not the best competition out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a B-.
Yeah, I'm giving this pick a B. Like, this was definitely the necessary move because the Browns had no offensive linemen because all of them went to free agency and dipped out. But yeah, this is a B in my eyes. I think with Spencer Fano coming in, like, they need somebody to protect that Pro Bowl quarterback, Like, you can't have your Pro Bowl quarterback getting injured. Like, I mean, who else do you know can throw 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions again to the Pro Bowl? Now that's history right there. So yeah, I mean, you gotta protect your Pro Bowl, your all-time great quarterback. But yeah, so yeah, great pick by Cleveland. I'll give it a B. Now the 10th pick, right? The New York Giants got it from the Bengals due to the Dexter Lawrence trade, and the Giants used it to take Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle out of Miami. I originally had the Giants taking Caleb Downs, which should have been the pick. I don't know what they were thinking. And you had them taking Sonny Styles. So, how do you feel about this pick, and what's the grade?
Well, their first pick, they took care of the defense, and now they're taking care of the offensive line. So, trying to have a little balanced draft picking in the first round. But the player is good. Miami, they was in the national championship game, so I know he handled his business. Yeah, I just think there's some other player, impact players they could have chose here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him a C+.
Yeah, I gotta give him a C. Look, Francis is good. I'm not saying he's not, but Caleb Downs was there.
Yes.
Ruben Bain was there. Who else? Dylan Thieneman, even Makai Lemon. Like, dude, there were some names here. Like, even Caden Proctor. I think he's a better offensive tackle than Francis, personally. But like, I don't know. I just gotta give it a C, man. I just think there was like better. Like, it's never wrong to address the offensive line, but I mean, y'all, I don't know. The Giants are in a scenario where I think they could have used it. They could have used the second round pick on an offensive tackle, or if you really wanted one of those first round guys, you could have traded back into the first. But all right, you do you. So, all right, with the 11th pick, the Dallas Cowboys ended up trading up one spot with the Miami Dolphins to select Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. So I originally had the Dolphins at 11 taking Mansour Delane, and you had the Dolphins at 11 taking Makai Lemon, but they ended up trading down with Dallas, so Dallas can go get Caleb Downs. How do you feel about the pick, and what's the grade?
I had the Cowboys getting Gerald McCoy, the cornerback out of Tennessee.
Yep.
That's what I had. But you said.
Well, now I'm talking about the no. This is the 11th pick, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the Cowboys traded up to 11, so I was talking about the Dolphins.
All right. So Caleb Downs. So I mean, the Cowboys definitely needed somebody on the back end of their defense. I mean, they need somebody all over their defense. I mean, they really, really trashy last year. So Caleb Downs will help. He'll be an impact player. Like I was trying to say, Cleveland and New York could have used, but he's going to be an impact player for the Cowboys. And I'll give this one a B+.
Man, Cowboy fans, they were like, Giants, please mess this up. And boy, the Giants messed it up, man, because Caleb Downs is going to Texas. This is an A+. I can't justify giving it anything lower. I mean, Caleb Downs, he has a chance to be the best safety in the NFL in a couple years. And the fact that the Cowboys were able to trade up one spot and get him at 11, whoo-wee! Oh, boy, man, Cowboys, hey, they need all the defensive help they can get. So getting Caleb Downs definitely fix it. So it's an A+. Now, with the 12th pick, the Miami Dolphins traded down with the Dallas Cowboys to get this pick, and they used that pick on Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama. I had originally the Cowboys with the 12th pick taking Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle out of Georgia. You had Dallas at 12, like you mentioned earlier, taking Jamal McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee, who ended up falling completely out of the first 2 days of the draft. Screw first 2 rounds, not even the first 2 days. So how do you feel about the Caden Proctor pick for the Dolphins, and what's the grade?
Like you said earlier, there's never a bad time to address your offensive line, especially in the first round. If you have some great offensive lines, linemen available. But I mean, I don't know how good the Miami Dolphins are going to be next year. I mean, I don't know how they're going to score points. I don't know who's going to be throwing the ball, who's going to be catching the ball, who's going to be running the ball. I don't know. So they go ahead and pick this offensive tackle. You know, I guess you got to start somewhere, and they starting with the offensive line this year. But I'm just go ahead and give them a C.
Man, if I'm that, I'm giving them a D, man. Because this pick just made absolutely no sense. I mean, okay, I get. Okay, you got Malik Willis trying to protect him. I understand all that. Who's catching the football?
No one.
Like, you drafted Chris Bell in the second round. Congratulations. But dude, Makai Lemon was right there for y'all. It was right there.
They probably said, "No, we can get Bell in the second round. Let's get this offensive tackle now." And you know, Makai Lemon, probably a rookie of the year candidate, a Pro Bowl candidate. Let's pass him up to get a Chris Bell or whatever his name is. But
It's like, what? Look, Chris Bell's good, but Makai Lemon is great. But all right, Dolphins. Yeah, this is a freaking D. I ain't gonna lie. Like, and I don't hate Gabe Proctor. I actually think he's a pretty talented offensive tackle. But at 12, I had him going in the 20s. Like, you reached hard for this dude. All right, whatever. But the 13th pick that the Rams got from Atlanta because of the James Pierce trade last year, the Los Angeles Rams used the pick on Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama, which I think for a lot of people was the most confusing and surprising pick in the entire draft. But I'll get your opinion in a second. I had the Rams at 13 taking Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle out of Utah. You had them taking Jordan Tyson, receiver out of Arizona State. How do you feel about the Rams taking Ty Simpson, and what is the grade?
I feel my first F coming on. I really think that. I mean, you have an aging quarterback. What is he, 37, 38 maybe?
Yeah.
So an heir apparent is happening. We have to get an heir apparent soon. One of these days, maybe one of these years. I mean, good quarterbacks play into their 40s these days. But the Rams are Super Bowl contenders. I mean, unless you tell me, okay, the Rams don't have no holes on their team, then let's go ahead and get the heir apparent right here on the 13th pick, a guy that doesn't have but, 13 or 15 starts in his entire college life. And, he played horrible coming down the stretch. When they finally played some good teams and had some adversities, he started playing horrible. So you would think, a guy like Makai Lemon sitting there can help you out in the receiving. I mean, you got, an old receiver. What's his name?
Davante Adams.
Yes, Davante Adams. He's getting up there in age. And you have Puka Nacua. I think he's in rehab or something right now. You could have Makai Lemon come right into your receiver room and contribute to probably a Super Bowl championship this year. But, F. I give him an F. Straight up.
I also give them an F. Because, look, Ty Simpson has played he has started in 15 games. I'm not saying 15 games in a season. I'm not saying even in 2 seasons. He started 15 games his entire college career. Now, Dad, I'm going to do a trivia question for you. Who do you think? Now, I guess this is opinion-based, but from my list, I don't think it is opinion. Or not my list, the only list. It's probably not opinion-based. Who do you think is the best quarterback to be drafted who only started 15 college games or less? Who do you think that is?
I don't think there's a list. I don't think there's anybody on. I mean, there's probably people that played in the NFL with less experience, but they've never done anything. They've never won anything, I bet you.
Right. The best guy on that list, Mark Sanchez.
But fumble himself. All right.
Mark Sanchez, the dude had like 2 good years with the Jets, taking them to the championship game, and then was like, "Okay, that's enough. That's enough success for this decade with the Jets." It's like, I mean, look, Ty Simpson could be good, but even Sean McVay didn't even like the pick. Like, I don't know if you saw the press conference, but Sean McVay, he was not happy. Like, obviously, he made up lies after that day, being like, "Oh, I was just grumpy, man. I love Ty Simpson. I think he's gonna be a great player." No, we saw you, man. Like, no, you were not happy. Like, you're not gonna sit up here and freaking sugarcoat it, man. You were not happy. It's simple as that. Like, he was like, "Look, this is Matthew Stafford's team, and he's gonna compete with Stetson Bennett." You're telling me you used a first-round pick on a quarterback to compete with Stetson Bennett.
Good plan.
Like, okay, so you have the 13th overall pick because Atlanta's incompetent. And instead of addressing some of your biggest weakness or adding on to your firepower, you're like, "I'm going to take a guy who's going to compete, not be the for show future after Stafford's done, but I'm going to take a guy that's going to compete with Stetson Bennett." Fifth round picks do that. 5th round picks compete with Stetson Bennett. But I'm gonna take him in the first round. Like, and honestly, and here's what a lot of people are gonna say: "Well, the Packers did it with Jordan Love. Well, Atlanta did it with Michael Penix." All right, Jordan Love, all right, gets picked by the Packers, all right? He sat behind them for what? For like what, 2-3 years? Stafford ain't playing. Like, and Michael Penix, all right, yeah, Atlanta did with Michael Penix. What is he doing now? Nothing.
Limping around.
Exactly. And Jordan Love, how much playoff games has he won? 1. Since being drafted in the first round. So come on now. But yeah. But a lot of Rams fans, they're probably going to tuck themselves into the pick later on. And it's like, And also, next year's quarterback class is supposed to be loaded. So you're going to tuck one next year.
That's what I was saying, that if you take Ty Simpson in this first round or any of the other sucky quarterbacks, you take yourself out of next year's quarterback sweepstakes, because you can't take another quarterback next year in the first round. It ain't gonna happen. Even if you have the number 1 pick, you can't do that anymore. So this was a confusing pick to me.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, let's move on. We spent like 10 minutes talking about him. All right. Next up, the 14th pick, Baltimore Ravens selected Oliva Vega-Eon, offensive guard out of Penn State. I had the Ravens taking Jeremiah Love, which was far from happening, and you had the Ravens taking Spencer Fano. So how do you feel about the Eon pick for Baltimore?
Yeah, well, I had them picking the tackle, but they ended up picking the guard. So I thought, offensive line was the way to go to help out their quarterback that likes to run around a little bit. Now he's getting a little injured here and there, so beef up that offensive line. They picked this guy that I'm not even going to try to say his name again at guard, stick him right in the middle, plug and play. He's going to be good. I give him a B-.
Yeah, I'm going to give this an A because, man, I mean, he's definitely the best offensive guard in this draft. He's the only one that I think deserved to go in the first round. What's good, Slim South? How you doing, my brother? You can have whatever you like, Slim South. What's up? But yeah. But anyways, yeah. The Eon pick, he's a good person. He's a good player. Yeah, good pick for Baltimore. By the way, did you? I think it was day 2. Did you see when Mark Ingram announced pick for Ravens? You saw what he did.
Mark Ingram is such a clown right now. Yeah, I saw him.
Steelers still suck.
He played 2 years for the Ravens. Now he's like Mr. Raven all of a sudden. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Kai said, "Yo, what's good, nephew Mike and brother? How you feel? How you feeling, Kai? What's good?" Kai has entered the chat. But anyways, yeah, Eon to the Ravens. All right. Now with the 15th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Ruben Bain Jr., edge out of Miami. Shame on all of you. Shame on letting him fall to 15. Shame, shame, shame. All right. I had the Buccaneers taking Jamal McCoy. Shame. And you had the Buccaneers taking Keldrick Falk. Shame. So how do you feel about Ruben Bain going to Tampa Bay? Shame, shame, shame.
Yeah, I thought they was going to get an edge rusher and Keldrick Falk, but they got the edge rusher here. I didn't think he dropped this far, but I like what, can't believe I'm saying that as a Saints fan, but I like what Tampa has done throughout their draft. I mean, they really picked up some good players that, going to have me worried. So, Ruben Bain Jr., I give them, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, an A+ for this move. It's great value. I didn't think he'd fall this far.
It has to be an A+, and if you give it lower than an A+, then either two things are the truth. Either one, you're a biased Saints fan, or two, you're lying to yourself. Because I mean, look, I understand his arms teeny tiny. I understand. That ain't never stopped nobody. It's like Ruben Bain. I mean, shoot, he doesn't always need to use his arms. I mean, this is an A+. I mean, dude, I thought the dude was gonna go top 3, and the dude ended up falling to 15 because of some arm length. Arm length? Are you serious? So we're gonna let a future Hall of Famer go because of arm length. Okay. Whatever. All right. With the 16th pick that the New York Jets got from the Sauce Gardner trade last year, the New York Jets selected Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. How do you feel about? Well, hold on. So I had the Jets taking Dylan Thinaman, a guy that could actually get interceptions next year. And you had the Jets taking Omar Cooper Jr., who's a guy that won't be able to get interceptions next year. So how do you feel about the Kenyon Sadiq pick, who also won't get no interceptions next year?
Well, as far as they got the best tight end in the draft, I guess he's the best tight end. Help out their offense. I don't know who's going to be throwing them the ball. Geno Smith, perhaps.
Eugene Smith.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a B+ just because of the fact that they got the best tight end in the draft.
I'm going to go B-. It would have been a B+ if he could get an interception, but he can't do that, so it's a B- for now. If I was the Jets, I would, like, the entire 7 rounds, I'm just looking for guys that can get an interception. But yeah. All right. Now with the 17th pick, the Detroit Lions selected Blake Miller, offensive tackle out of Clemson. I originally had the Commanders trading down with the Lions to take Mekhi Lemon, which did not happen. And you had the Lions at 17 taking Monroe Freeling. So how do you feel about Blake Miller going to Detroit, and what is the grade?
I don't know too much about this player. I do know that a few offensive tackles have come off the board, so this can't be like one of the best tackles in the draft. So, I mean, he is a first-round pick. I would really like them to see them get Mekhi Lemon and add to that offense, but they go on, offensive line to try to beef up their front. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a C right here.
I'm going to give him a C+. Like, yeah, replaces Taylor Decker, but I feel like Blake Miller, I don't know. I don't really know if his game's going to really transition to the next level, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, now with the 18th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. I had the Vikings originally taking Peter Woods. You had the Vikings at 18 taking Dylan Thinaman. So, who do you think, or how do you feel about the 18th pick being Caleb Banks?
Caleb Banks is good. He's a dog. I've seen him play a lot because I don't know what you do on Saturdays. I watch SEC football on Saturdays. I do. And I've seen a lot of Caleb Banks, so I know he's going to be a stud in Minnesota. I'm going to go ahead and give them an A-.
Same, man. I mean, Caleb Banks, he's tall. He's good at football. I mean, that's really all you need right there. But I could just end the sentence right there. That's really all you need. So, yeah. Now, with the 19th pick, The Carolina Panthers selected Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle out of Georgia. I originally had the Panthers trading down with the Bears, and the Bears trading up to take Keldrick Falk. You at 19 had the Panthers taking Caleb Lamu. How do you feel about the Monroe Freeling pick for Carolina? What's the grade?
Well, I thought they would go offensive tackle with Lamu, or however you say his name, but they go with this kid here. So, I mean, beef up the offensive line. I mean, the quarterback is top 10. I mean, you gotta help him out. You gotta surround them with some things. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him a B grade right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an A, man. I mean, just getting that little boy Bryce Young some protection so he can run around and look like a kindergartner. You got to get him some protection, and yeah, he's gonna need witness protection whenever Chase Young's after him. But other than that, Monroe Freeling, I think could be a solid pickup. So give me an A for that. Now with the 20th pick. The Dallas Cowboys originally had it via the Michael Parsons trade, but then they traded down with the Philadelphia Eagles because everybody decided that they are going to be stupid. Like Dallas Cowboys, I have a question for y'all. Y'all hate the Eagles, right? So why would y'all give the Eagles a weapon? Okay. Yeah, so the Philadelphia Eagles ended up trading up with the Dallas Cowboys to select Makai Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. I can't believe I just said that out loud. How do you feel about the pick for Philly? You could roast the Cowboys if you want to. And what's the grade for the pick?
I will roast the Cowboys. That's like us saying, okay, Atlanta, y'all don't have a first-round pick. We'll give y'all our first-round pick. Y'all give us Kyle Pitts. Why would we do that? That's stupid, right? Anyway, Makai Lemon. I'm gonna have to give this one an A+ because I think this is like the best value of the first round. I mean, I expected this guy to go around 10. This is 10 spots later, and he's still on the board. And all the problems they've been having with AJ Brown and all the drama and this and that. So go ahead and get Makai Lemon A+.
Yeah. I originally had the Cowboys taking Avion Terrell. You had them taking Caden Proctor. This is mind-boggling to me that he was even available. But Dallas, and I heard Jerry Jones' excuse. He said, "Well, if we weren't going to trade with everybody that we don't like, then we wouldn't make any trades because we don't like anybody." Like, okay, I understand that. I actually don't understand that. Why would you trade? What does Howie Roseman do before the draft? Does Howie Roseman have all of the GMs locked up in a room? Like, does he be making them do slave work to force? Like, like the Eagles do this every single year, where they get the best value and they trade up for all these dudes, and it's like, what? Okay, whatever. But yeah, the Eagles. This is an A+, double plus, triple plus, A++++++++. Like there's no amount of pluses that you can stop at with this pick because like you get the best overall receiver in my opinion at 20. But did you see that video where Makai Lemon was on the phone with the Steelers though? Did you see that?
No, what happened?
So yeah, apparently the Steelers, because they had the pick right after the Eagles, or right after the Cowboys, and they knew the Cowboys were not taking a wide receiver because they already had CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So the Steelers were calling Makai Lemon and basically saying that they were going to draft him. And Makai Lemon was on the phone, and then they were like, "Yo, the Eagles just traded up to just traded for you." And then he had to hang up the phone so quick, and then had to go to get his Eagles gear and stuff. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, all right, next pick. The 21st pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers took Max Heineker, offensive tackle of Arizona State. Hope I said that right. I had the Steelers taking Brandon Cisse. You had the Steelers taking Ty Simpson. So how do you feel about the Max Heineker pick for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I thought this was going to be the spot for Ty Simpson. But offensive tackle out of Arizona State. So this tells me that, Aaron Rodgers is probably coming back, and the Steelers know that he's coming back. He just likes to to mess around in the off season a little bit, go to dark rooms, climb trees, all that stuff. So, having said all that, I'm sure this guy's a fine, offensive tackle. I'm gonna go ahead and give it C minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the C. I will say this about Steeler fans: they're probably the only fan base in the NFL that does not cry every time the team takes an offensive lineman in the first round. Because like every time a team takes an offensive lineman, they're like, everybody be like, "Oh man, why do we keep doing this?" But Steeler fans, they'd be like, "Yeah, we got to get the '70s football," because all their fans are basically old at this point. But yeah, um, yeah. So I just think it's a good pickup because at this current moment, the starting quarterback is going to be either Will Howard, Drew Aller, or Mason Rudolph. But Aaron Rodgers' decision is pending. We'll see what he decides to do. All right, now with the 22nd pick in the 2026 draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Akeem Mesidor, edge out of Miami. I had the Chargers taking Oliver Vega-Eon. You had the Chargers taking Oliver Vega-Eon. So, yeah, we were both wrong. So, yeah, how do you feel about the Akeem Mesidor pick, and what is the grade?
I've seen him play a lot in the college football playoffs last year, and he can get it done. He's a dog. He comes up quick off that edge, gets pressures the quarterback. So I like the pick, and they do need some upgrades to the defense. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a B minus on this one.
Yeah, I'm giving them an A here, man, because it's like, Khalil Mack's not getting any younger, so you got his successor, and he can give you immediate production right now. Mesidor, who also is older, so he's had experience playing at the college level, so yeah. All right, now with the 23rd pick that the Cowboys got because of trading down with the Eagles, they took Malachi Lawrence, edge from UCF. I had the Eagles with the 23rd pick taking Caden Proctor, but then they decided to do some voodoo magic. So yeah, and then you had the Eagles taking Kenyon Sadiq. So how do you feel about the Malachi Lawrence pick? And what's the grade?
Cowgirls doing cowgirl stuff. I don't like it that much. I think there's other impact players they could have got, even on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a D plus on this one.
Man, I'm gonna give them a D minus, man. Like, you know what this pick reminds me of? Do you know who Peyton Turner is by chance?
I do.
You know he was first round pick?
I do.
That's what this pick was. I had Malachi Lawrence being like a third or fourth round talent, and they got.
They even trade up to get this dude.
They traded down to get this dude.
Traded down.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
one of the only times Mickey Loomis traded down, right?
I mean, well, he didn't trade down. Oh, you talking about Peyton Turner? No, the Saints. No, the Saints still had that pick and used it. Like, no, the Saints didn't trade down that time. Okay. They had the pick originally, and they took Peyton Turner because that's when the Saints finished their last good year. So we had a late pick, and stuff. So.
I just remember them talking about Peyton Turner and comparing him to like Reggie White. Remember that? Like this could be Reggie White.
What football were they watching?
I don't know. They're not too good at football.
I can see that. All right. Now with the 24th pick, the Cleveland Browns got this pick from the Travis Hunter trade last year, and they used this pick to take Casey Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. I had the Browns at 24 taking Ty Simpson, and you had them taking Casey Concepcion. So this was the second pick you got right. So how do you feel about the pick?
I called it, baby. I called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that the Browns were looking for some offensive weapons to help out their Pro Bowl quarterback. Their quarterback is so good. Let me tell you what they did. They picked another quarterback this year.
Yeah. Taylor Green.
The pick. The Concepcion pick is A minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a B plus here. I think like what name, man? What a name, man. Casey Concepcion or Concepcion, whatever it is. Like he's
Transformer or something, you know.
He's going to be transforming the Browns into a good team. Okay, let's not get too crazy, but yeah, I mean Cleveland, man. I mean, hey, they got a pretty good like they got a guy that can do this. Congratulations, Browns! You got a guy that can do this and not do this like Jerry G be doing. Because that's what all their guys be doing. But now they got the guy that can do this and not that. So yeah, I think it's a B plus. I'll give them that. All right, now with the where are we at? The 25th pick, the the Chicago Bears took Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon. I had the Bears trading up earlier, and this was the Panthers pick I decided, and I had them taking Blake Miller, which did not happen. You had the Bears taking Peter Woods. So how do you feel about Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon, going to Chicago?
Okay, yeah, I had them taking Woods, the defensive tackle, but they ended up wanting to go secondary, so good for them. I don't know too much about him. I know he does play at Oregon, which, you know, I guess they had a pretty good defense, solid defense last year. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a B minus on this pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go B here. I do think he probably could have. I don't know. This is, I think, one of those wild card picks. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad, in my opinion. But yeah. All right, now with the 26th pick that the Houston Texans got from the Bills, because the Texans ended up trading up with the Bills to get the 26th pick. So, and the Texans used the 26th pick on Keelan Rutledge, offensive guard of Georgia Tech. Let's see, the Bills, who had the original 26th pick, I had taken Omar Cooper Jr., and you had the Bills taking Akeem Mesidor. So, how do you feel about Keelan Rutledge to the Texans with the 26th pick?
I like it. I mean, the Texans have a solid championship defense, so no need to really use this pick here. Let's address the offensive side of the ball. So I do like that, and beef up that offensive line. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them an A minus on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go B minus. I'm gonna go B minus, man. It would have been an A if they didn't trade up for him because I feel like he would have been there at 28. Like I think you could probably trade it down and get him. Like I thought he was gonna be there in the second round. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's B minus. I do like the pick, but also he didn't really play the best of competition at Georgia Tech. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a B minus for now. This is probably the second most. I don't know. The second most. This is probably the second best pick that could be good or bad, depending on who you ask. They did need to get protection for C.J. Stroud because their offensive line was not doing him any favors. But to be fair, C.J. Stroud was not doing C.J. Stroud any favors either. So I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. Now with the 27th pick, the Miami Dolphins ended up trading up with the 49ers. And they took Chris Johnson, cornerback out of San Diego State. How do you feel about – well, hold on. Let's see. So I had the 49ers with the 27th pick taking Akeem Mesidor. You had them taking Blake Miller, which, obviously didn't happen because they traded down. So, who – hold on. All right, we got breaking news out of the NFL. Breaking news. Titans president Chad Brinker is stepping down. So the Titans going to get a new president in the near future if they haven't named one already. But yeah. So anyways, back to this. Chris Johnson, San Diego State, going to the Dolphins. How do you feel about it? What's the grade?
They continue to – wait, let's see something. They got an offensive tackle earlier. Now they get a cornerback. So they continue to dance around the problems. I mean – who's throwing the ball? Who's running the ball? Who's catching the ball? So, yeah, I'm gonna give them another, B minus on this one. They need offense. They need, to score some points. I don't see how they scoring more than 14 points a game this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a B minus. I do like the pick. but I don't know. I mean, like they do have a good running back, Devon Achane, but everything else is a hope and a what in the world is that? Everything else is a hope and a prayer. Like, I mean, you hope Malik Willis can be good. You hope that your receivers don't suck. You hope your offensive line isn't trash. Devon Achane's like the only thing that's 100%. Everything else is a hope and a prayer. But yeah, not Browns. Dolphins take Chris Johnson. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Now, the 28th pick, the Texans originally had, so the Texans had the 28th pick, then they traded it to the Bills, who traded down again, this time to the Patriots. And with the 28th pick, the Patriots selected Caleb Lamu, offensive tackle out of Utah. I originally had the Texans with the 28th pick taking Kenyon Sadiq. You had the Texans going Caden McDonald. So, how do you feel about the 28th pick being Caleb Lamu to the Patriots? What's your thoughts, and what's the grade?
Well, the Patriots take an offensive tackle. No matter who the offensive tackle is going to be, this has to be the most safest pick in the first round. Everybody knows they have to pick a tackle, right? Did y'all see Will Campbell play last year?
I did see
Will Campbell play in the playoff and the Super Bowl. You know they need an offensive tackle. And I like Will Campbell, an LSU guy or whatever. But he's not an offensive tackle. He might be a guard. So the Patriots definitely have to get an offensive tackle this year. And so they go ahead and get this guy. So just on that basis alone, they made the right pick. So I'm going to go ahead and give them an 8.
Yeah, I'm going A+. I mean, not only is it an offensive tackle, I had this guy going in the top 10, and he fell to almost the second round. That's just great value at its finest. And yeah, like you said, man, Will Campbell might go like that Trevor Penning route, where you draft him out of tackle, not working, so you push him to guard. I don't know. That's probably the route he's going at this point. I don't know. I think this is a great pick for New England. You get more protection up front for your young signal caller Drake May. Yeah, I think this is an A+, mainly because of the value and of the talent. Now, with the 29th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs got this pick from the Trent McDuffie trade that they made with the Rams. And with the 29th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs selected Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. I originally had the Bengals trading up with the Chiefs at 29 to get Caden McDonald. And you, with the 29th pick, had the Chiefs selecting Max Heinecker. So, how do you feel about Peter Woods, and what is the grade?
Well, I like to see when teams have multiple first-round picks. I like to see them use those picks in a way that you can see the direction that they're going. Like they had the cornerback early, and now they go defensive line. So you can see they're trying to beef up that defense. So, and they got Patrick Mahomes, and the offense is going to do what they do. So they're definitely building up their defense. So I like the direction. And Peter Woods, he's a good player, played at Clemson, a lot of good competition over there. So I'm going to go ahead and give them an A- on this pick.
Yeah, I'm going A- as well. I mean, Peter Woods at one point during the pre-draft process was a consensus top 10 pick, but a lot of stuff, I guess, happened where he fell out. I think this is a great pick for Kansas City. I mean, Chris Jones ain't getting any younger, so you get his heir apparent. And he's a guy that could make an impact. Probably not right away, but I mean, Peter Woods, the talent's there. We'll just have to see how things go from there. Now, with the 30th pick, the New York Jets ended up having it. Well, first the Broncos had it, but then they traded it to the Dolphins for Jalen Waddle, and then the Dolphins traded it to the 49ers to trade. So the Dolphins just traded up in the draft, and then the 49ers traded this pick to the Jets. So everybody's just trading this pick. Nobody wants the 30th pick other than the Jets. And the New York Jets selected Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of Indiana. Dad, at first you had the Dolphins, who originally had the 30th pick. Well, kind of. You had them taking Garrett Nussmeier, who fell to the 7th round. So, yeah.
Don't laugh. But
I'm trying not to.
Garrett Nussmeier might be the second best quarterback in this draft. I don't know what happened in his pre-draft interviews or something, or if the injury is just, he failed people's physicals. I don't know, but he has way more talent than a lot of these cats that were getting drafted. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm sure we'll hear something about it in the future. But he's going to a nice situation where he could learn in the Andy Reid system. And, if something happens to Patrick Mahomes, he's there. So, I mean, that's a good situation for him. It lets him heal up his injuries, too, if he still has those injuries.
Yeah, and I have the Dolphins taking Casey Concepcon, so yeah. But yes, how do you feel about the Omar Cooper Jr. pick for the Jets, and what is the grade?
Well, like we said on the Jets' earlier pick, like, I wanted them to get an impact player here. So they waited to this pick to pick the receiver. I don't know how good Omar Cooper is. I mean, I know he played for Indiana. He made some good catches in the playoffs. I remember that. So I do like that, they went out and got the receiver. Geno Smith needs somebody to throw to. So go ahead and give him a B+ for getting Omar Cooper Jr.
Yeah, I'm going B+ as well. He's definitely a high impact player that can play alongside Garrett Wilson. So yeah, we'll see how things go from there with the Jets. Now with the 31st pick, the New England Patriots originally had it, but then the Bills traded up with the Patriots, and then the Bills had the 31st pick, and then the Titans traded up because the Bills decided, man, having first-round picks is overrated. So they ended up trading their first-round pick 3 straight times. So yeah, the Tennessee Titans used the 31st pick to take Keldrick Falk, edge out of Auburn. I originally had the Packers trading up with the Patriots for the 31st pick, taking Colton Hood. And you had the Patriots taking Denzel Boston. So how do you feel about the Keldrick Falk pick, and what is the grade?
I would have liked to see the Tennessee Titans continue to add to that offense after picking Cornell Tate. I thought maybe a Jadarian Price would have been good right there. Now you got your running back. But no, I like Keldrick Falk. I mean, this is a value pick to me because I had him going much earlier than this. So I like the pick. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A-.
I'm gonna go B+. I had him going way earlier, at like 19. And I think this is Robert Saleh's guy. He's a defensive-minded head coach, and hey, he got his guy. So, and a lot of people thought he was going to take like Ruben Bain or David Bailey if he was available at 4, but yeah. All right, now with the 32nd pick, the Seattle Seahawks selected Jadarian Price, running back out of Notre Dame. I originally had the Seahawks at 32 selecting Denzel Boston. You had the Seahawks selecting Zion Young. So what's your thoughts on Jadarian Price to Seattle, and what is the grade?
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing in my mock draft here because this is a no-brainer, really. I mean, you have to replace your running back your Super Bowl MVP running back that you lost in free agency. So Jadarian Price is going to fit right in there. Probably be a day one starter. So I like the pick. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.
I don't know. I'm gonna give it a C because I think he could have been available in the second round. That's my only thought. I thought he could have been there in the third round, but I don't know. We'll see how things go. Now let's go to the Saints draft. Now we already went over Jordan Tyson. We already went over the 8th pick. So let's go to the 42nd pick. New Orleans Saints with the 42nd pick in the draft selected Christian Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia. I originally had the Saints taking Keith Abney II. You had the Saints taking Chris Bell. So how do you feel about Christian Miller to the Saints, and what's the grade?
I like it. Just throw him in there in the defensive line because he's a big guy that can stop the run. And he also pressures the passer from the inside too. So, so I like that. And of course, he played in the SEC. It seems to be a pattern here with these Saints picks. So I do like that because I watch some SEC football on Saturdays. I don't know what you watch. But yeah, I like this pick. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B plus.
Yeah, I like this pick. I do think the Saints could have went corner here, but I'm not mad at it. I'll go B. I'll go B. All right, now with the 73rd pick in the draft, the New Orleans Saints selected Oscar Delp, tight end out of Georgia. I originally had the Saints trading down and getting the 79th pick from the Falcons, taking Max Clare. So I had Saints going tight end. Max Clare, tight end of Ohio State. You had the Saints with the 73rd pick selecting Caleb Banks, who ended up going in the first round. So I don't know what your mock draft was thinking. But yeah. How do you feel about the Oscar Delp pick, and what is the grade?
I like it. A lot of Saints fans, were scratching their heads over this one. Like, we just got Noah Fant and we got Juwan Johnson. But you know what? This might put a little pressure on Juwan Johnson to stop dropping these balls early in the season. I mean, you got that, and you got Noah Fant. He showed, some glimpses at times, but he has never been real consistent. So Oscar Delp could come in here and learn behind those two guys. Doesn't have to play right away, but it's just another weapon for your offense. Once he figures it out, I mean, the dude ran a 4.49 at his pro day. I mean, that is booking it for a tight end. So he's got size, he's got some speed, so he could be another weapon for Tyler Shough in the Saints offense. So I do like it. I'm gonna give him a B plus on this one.
I'm gonna go with C minus. I just think he could have been there later in the draft, but it's like taking a blocking tight end in the third round from where the Saints were at. I just didn't really understand it, and I still kind of don't understand it. Like, I don't know. Hopefully, the pick ends up being good. Yeah. Now, with the 132nd pick that the Saints got from Seattle, thanks to the Rashid Shaheed trade, the New Orleans Saints selected Jeremiah Wright, guard out of Auburn. I had the Saints selecting Malachi Fields. You had the Saints selecting Malik Benson. So we both had them going receiver, who they ended up going with four picks later. We'll get to that in a second. How do you feel about the Jeremiah Wright pick, and what's the grade?
Another SEC boy. I love it. We had to get an offensive guard in this draft somewhere. And, the fourth round right here from Auburn, I like it. I mean, just stick him in the middle, have him compete for one of those spots. And if not, he's there for, some depth until he figures it out. And one day take Cesar Ruiz's spot, which probably will happen. So I like the pick. I'm going to go ahead and give it a C+.
I'm going to give this pick, I'm going to give it a C+ as well. Like, he's I think one of the most rawest guys, where it's like he hasn't really been developed in college yet, but I mean, I've seen the potential. He is a tall dude. I see the potential with him. We'll see how Jeremiah Wright can do. He is a fourth round pick. We'll see how he can do. Now, with the 136th pick that the Saints got for comp reasons, I think this is probably when Paulson Adebo went to the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, with the 136th pick, the Saints selected Bryce Lance, brother of Trey Lance. But the Saints took Bryce Lance, wide receiver of North Dakota State. With the 136th pick, I had the Saints taking Ali Famo, or Famo, something like that. And you had the Saints here taking Joe Royer. So, how do you feel about the Bryce Lance pick, and what is the grade?
I like the pick. I mean, this dude is fast. I mean, he ran a 4.34 at the combine, which is booking it, blazing speed. The only thing I don't like about that, has to grow on me a little bit, North Dakota State. Not the best competition, but he seems like a developmental prospect anyway. So let's put him in there, have him start developing. He might be a practice squad guy, maybe at the back end of a roster if he could play some special teams. I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C minus.
Bryce Lance, I'm gonna go with a C+. Like, he is fast, and I do think he could be our eventual Rashid Shaheed replacement. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Now, the Saints originally did have the 150th pick, but we traded it to the Raiders for Tyree Wilson. Now, Dan, I want to get your thoughts on this because it does count as the draft. I decided. How do you feel about the Saints trading pick 150 to the Raiders for Tyree Wilson?
Well, for the ones that say, "Hey, we didn't draft an edge," well, we did pick up an edge, all right. But what makes me very nervous about it is that he played on a team with Max Crosby, right? You think Max Crosby would be getting double team, would be getting a lot of attention, and so a guy like Tyree could just pile up the sack numbers, but he didn't do that. So that makes me a little worried. But put him in there, have him compete. I mean, he was picked 7th overall in 2023, so he has the talent. But let's, every now and then somebody just needs a fresh start. Maybe this is his fresh start, and he'll be one of the pieces that we need.
Look, if there's anybody that can fix or develop Tyree Wilson, I think it's Brandon Staley. He did it with Chase Young. I mean, he brought Cam Jordan's career back from the dead. Like, I think if there's anybody that can fix Tyree Wilson, I think it's Brandon Staley because he can develop these edge rushers. Now, just for fun and giggles, I guess with the 150th pick in this alternate universe that the Saints did not trade it, I had the Saints taking LT Overton. You had the Saints taking Jalen Farmer. Now, with the 172nd pick that the Saints got from the Rashid Shaheed trade, the Saints selected Lorenzo Styles Jr., safety out of Ohio State. Now, you might be like, that name sounds familiar, and that school sounds familiar. Well, that's because he is the brother of Sonny Styles. So, how do you feel about Lorenzo? Man, the Saints just drafted all brothers this draft. How do you feel about the Lorenzo Styles Jr. pick, and what's the grade?
I like the pick, and speaking of speed, I mean, this dude ran 4.27, and that's the fastest ever by a safety at the combine.
And he did it with an injury. He did that with an injured leg.
With an injured leg. Wow. I didn't even know that, but thanks for telling me. But anyway, this dude is booking it at safety. And, I mean, until he does, figure it out at safety, he'll probably be playing some special teams where he can be an awesome gunner. I mean, you put that dude on the outside with his 4.22 speed. I mean, he could be an awesome gunner. He does have some return abilities, but yeah, so he could be a good special teams ace right off the bat.
Facts. Yeah, this is a great pick, man. I mean, I'm giving this an A. I mean,
I didn't give a score. I'm gonna go A as well.
You're going A too, yeah. I'm going A, man. I mean, this dude ran 4.27 with an injured foot or leg or whatever his injury was. I know he was hurt, but yeah, ran 4.27 with an injured leg. The dude could have probably ran a 4.1 if he wasn't injured. And the dude played wide receiver in college, played cornerback in college, and safety in college. So this dude's literally the Taysom Hill of defense. How can you not give this an A? I mean, this guy, I think, is literally our JT Gray replacement. If y'all remember who JT Gray was, phenomenal special teams guy. I think this is a better version of JT Gray. This is he can probably be good on defense too. But yeah. Now with the 190th pick, the New Orleans. Well, hold on. With the 172nd pick, forgot to mention this. I had the Saints selecting Carson Beck. You had the Saints selecting Jake Slaughter. Now with the 190th pick in the 2026 draft, the New Orleans Saints selected Barian Brown, wide receiver out of LSU. I originally had the Saints taking Matthew Hibner, tight end out of SMU. You had the Saints taking Mason Rieger, edge out of Wisconsin. So how do you feel about the Barian Brown selection? And what's the grade?
Well, the round before when we draft Lorenzo Styles, I was like, he could be a good special teams guy. He could return some kicks. But then when I saw Barian Brown's name come up, I'm like, no. There's our returner. So he's definitely going to be right in there competing for punt return and kick return duties. I mean, he runs a 4.4, not as fast as Lorenzo Styles, but that's still moving. Don't think that's slow. And he made a lot of plays for the Tigers last year on kickoff return. So I like this pick. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one B+.
Man, I'm gonna give it an A+, man. Because not only does he get the LSU tax. Now, for those that don't know what the LSU tax is, it's kind of like, you know how sometimes you're in school and you get graded on a curve, grade on a curve. Well, I'm grading Barry Brown on a curve just for going to LSU. He's getting the LSU tax. So, like you said, B+, I'm giving him an A+ because of the LSU tax. But not just because of that. The dude has the most kick return touchdowns in SEC history. He had 5 with Kentucky, and he scored a touchdown last year for LSU in the kick return game. Barry Brown is excellent, man. Like, whenever, like, you know, I don't know, like Tyson or Vele needs a break, Barry Brown will be like, I'm up, coach. And he's going to catch a touchdown, man. This is an excellent pick. And the Saints, man, they didn't draft a single receiver last year. But this year, they took 3 of them things, man. I'm so glad they finally did that. Now, the 219th pick. Now, we did not predict the 219th pick because we didn't have it at the time, because this is the pick that we got in the Tyree Wilson trade. But with the 219th pick in the 2026 draft, the New Orleans Saints select TJ Hall, cornerback out of Iowa, that we got from the Raiders in the Tyree Wilson trade on draft day. How do you feel about the TJ Hall pick, and what's the grade?
I like the pick. He's got good size. He's a 6'1", 189-pounder. He does have below average speed, though. He ran a 4.59. So he's probably a developmental project right now. So just stick him in there, see how he develops. Probably a practice squad guy. But, you know, we do definitely need people in the secondary, so maybe he can surprise some people. I'm going to go ahead and give it a C-.
C-, he says. Yeah, I'm going, I'm going to go with a B+. Because, I mean, first of all, he's a cornerback from Iowa. Now, Iowa's probably the only SEC school where it's like those cornerbacks could probably be SEC cornerbacks. Because, like, when is a cornerback fail from going to Iowa? And also, TJ Hall, he's a guy that can track the ball. There was this one play where the ball in the air and the dude's on the other side of the field, and he was able to, like, somehow with that 4.59 speed, was able to run over there and get that ball and intercept that joint. So, yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, so that is the draft. We covered the first round, and we covered the Saints 7-round mock draft. So, Dad, you got anything else for us?
I did not have anything else other than to tell the audience to wish Hurricane Mike a happy birthday. His birthday is tomorrow, y'all.
Yep.
17.
Turning the 17-year-old, man. That's crazy. But yeah. So yeah, shout out to Slim South 504 for checking in, and shout out to the No Chop Podcast for checking in. Dad, where can they find you?
Find me at Mic'd Up YouTube channel and on Hurricane Mike Show every week.
You can also find me at Hurricane Mike, Kyle Phelps, and Keeping It Real Who That Sports Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn the bell on so you don't miss another upload. And Dad, we're gonna leave them as always with a Who Dat, and don't be a what?
Don't be a Falcon fan. You know what? They still don't have a first-round pick.
Still don't. They'll probably trade it. They'll probably trade their pick next year for like a kicker or something.
Yep, for a long snapper.
Yeah, probably.